Why did the VFX team have to ignore physics to create the train crash scene? What's the significance of the change in Barry's lightning?
Yes! Guys, I've been working on this.
And why didn't the infamous Grodd versus King Shark fight happen earlier in the series? My name's Dylan, and I'm definitely not the fastest man alive. The importance of the digital double. In Hollywood, stunt doubles are the unsung heroes of every production. Well, on The Flash, Barry's digital stunt double deserves all the credit in the world, because it's actually him doing all the death-defying action sequences. The way the VFX created this body double was by doing a full body scan of Grant Gustin, then capturing high-quality texture photos with polarized lights and filters on the set costume. You'll normally find this digital Flash zipping past when the stunts are too dangerous for Grant or any other performer, or when the director needs to depict time slowing down. At times, it's pretty obvious to spot if it's the actual actor or not, but there are a few scenes where you'd think it's the actor, and it isn't. What usually happens is that the actor is filmed in a specific pose, but then the rest of the scene is then enhanced via CGI. You'll see the hair move and even water splashes or wind blow around them, but it'll be VFX and not real at all. In fact, the VFX team puts a lot of thought into nailing these finer details to add to the authenticity of the show. And there's one special scene that came together due to the perfect mixture of visual and practical effects. The train crash. While the Flash and Captain Cold might have a strange relationship, the icy character has created a situation or two that put the Scarlet Speedster on thin ice. Namely, the train crash in Going Rogue, where Captain Cold froze the train's wheels. Of course, Barry had to save everyone on the train while the villain said, "Sayonara, catch you next Tuesday." VFX supervisor Armin Kevorkian explained that the sequence was filmed half in real time and half in slow motion. He told FX Guide, "We built a completely CG train. I then needed plates of the track, so I flew to Vancouver and shot the track plates. We also had previs for it, so knew what the beats were. Then we added the train." Also, because it was a black background, the VFX team decided to throw a CG city into the mix as well. You know, just to make things look even more realistic. Naturally, the Barry dashing in and saving people in flash time was the digital double, while the real actor filmed the real-time shots. Still, it's remarkable to think about how the location for the train is technically half real, while everything else was simple computer wizardry. Honestly, is there anything that CGI can't do nowadays? The evolution of lightning. A flash of lightning isn't just the logo on Barry's costume. It's symbolic of his connection to the Speed Force, and it's the nifty way that the VFX team uses to convey several things, not just how fast the character is moving. While the team uses a variety of colors for the speedsters on the show, Barry has also received incremental upgrades that eagle-eyed fans might have noticed. Not only has his costume changed, but so too has his lightning effects. For the show's visual effects supervisor Armin Kevorkian, the evolution in the look of the lightning is a creative way to show the character's development and growth throughout the series. He told The Hollywood Reporter, "I think that works with the storyline. The better he has use of his speedster powers, it makes sense that there would be a little shift in his look without doing a 180, and it's completely different. A little bit of difference year to year can't hurt." If you look closely at Season 1's lightning and this current season's, you can clearly see that the lightning is more clearly defined. It's as if it looks stronger and more prominent than before. But wouldn't all that lightning probably shock people and flip cars as the Flash zipped past them? Now that's a topic we'll be diving into a little later on, so stick around. The CG Central City. Do you like the way that Central City looks? What about all those scenic, fast-paced shots as Team Flash hits the streets? Nice, isn't it? Well, don't get too excited to book a ticket and visit the city just yet, because a lot of Central City is digitally recreated. And we're not talking about just an added car or building here and there. There are scenes where the whole city is entirely CGI, like literally everything you see, from the people on the streets to the parked cars and even their brake lights. The reason for this is to allow for the dynamic, fast-paced camera movements as the speedsters dash around in super speed. This would be next to impossible to capture with current technologies, since there'd be massive blurs to the image and limitations to what you can and can't do. A digitally reconstructed city doesn't have any restrictions, and you can control exactly what you want to show the audience on screen. Plus, since the camera is moving so fast, it's practically impossible for the human eye to point out if something is missing or out of place. Must say that the digital Central City looks spick and span, and we definitely wouldn't mind living there if given the chance. The rogues might be a little bit of a problem though. Super speed or super sneaky? Remember what happened when A-Train ran into Huey's girlfriend on The Boys? Well, that's what would happen if the Flash mistakenly crashed into an innocent bystander or if he didn't stop in time. Also, at the speed he's traveling, you wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of collateral damage around him. As it turns out, the VFX team is well aware of what his super speed should do, but they believe the superhero world allows them some wriggle room to ignore physics. After all, this is a world where a psychic gorilla exists, but more about the Monkey Man later. The rules of the Flash are simple. It needs to be grounded in reality to an extent that it blends in with everything else, but it's allowed to bend the rules of velocity and momentum when it needs to for effect. Since the audience already suspends its belief for a show where a man travels faster than the speed of light, it's easier to convince them that his powers work differently than how they legitimately should. Fortunately, the VFX team is also given an easy way out to explain away things with the Speed Force. Even in the comics, this mystical force kinda defies all the laws of gravity and momentum. So in short, it's probably best that the VFX ignores all the real-life rules, or else the Flash and all the people he saves would be in pieces around the city. And that's not exactly something we want to think about too much. Barry's Planet of the Apes. The Flash has a rogues gallery of villains to rival even Batman. However, he isn't just facing killer clowns or a guy who loves riddles in the color green. Nope, he's squaring off against psychic gorillas like Grodd. Bringing this digital beast to life on TV wasn't easy, but the communication between the writers and VFX team made all the difference in the world. As the Flash's visual effects supervisor Armin Kevorkian explained, his team's job is made easier when they have enough lead time to design assets like Grodd. Because they knew that Grodd was coming from the beginning of the season, they were able to work on the character's design for a longer time, studying how gorillas would move in the real world. And even when he was shown off for the first time, they hid certain details by intentionally putting him in a dark setting to allow them more time to develop the character's look. Armin, though, was under no illusions of the pressures facing his team because of another proverbial gorilla in the room. Speaking to comicbook.com, he said the following: "There's a lot of eyes on something like that when you do it for television, you know, doing an animated gorilla, especially coming off a year when Planet of the Apes did what they did. So the challenge is more internal, where you're nervous." Armin and his team had to be realistic and honest that they didn't have the budget of the Planet of the Apes though, so they had to work with the time and resources afforded to them. Ultimately, it paid off and Grodd wasn't just a man in a suit. But speaking of someone who isn't the gorilla's biggest fan, King Shark vs. Grodd, the dawn of money. Even though the CW is a wildly successful TV network, its pockets aren't quite as deep as major Hollywood studios. Sure, the VFX budget for a show like The Flash is generous enough, but this isn't like Game of Thrones where each episode costs $10 million. Keeping that in mind, no one expected to see two CG juggernauts like King Shark and Grodd do battle in such a huge and fan-pleasing way. The secret to this, however, wasn't just terrific VFX, but it was in the numbers. Executive producer Todd Helbing revealed that the Grodd King Shark crossover had been something the team had wanted to do for years, but money was the main issue. In fact, they kept running out of money for all the required CGI. Eventually, they made it happen by moving around the budget for Season 5, and you can see the Flash team sank a large chunk of the budget into the episode, especially the opening fight between the two beasts. Pretty much everything you see on screen has been digitally recreated, like a super expensive video game cutscene. What's incredible, though, is the level of detail that went into it. You can see Grodd's fur move as he does, while King Shark's transformation is equally as epic as any werewolf metamorphosis from the Wolfman. Goes to prove that money isn't the root of all evil, but it's actually what's necessary for great CGI. Would you like to see more videos about the Flash TV series? Let us know in the comments section down below what topics you'd like to see us cover in the future. And while you're at it, give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for some more awesome videos. Thanks for watching.